What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Bye Bye Earth, Season 2, Episode 4. So this one continuing on from last episode. Belle is in prison. Rudine is cracked, and Adonis gives her these like ashes that supposed to help repair Rudine. And Belle she refuses, but then near the end she decides to use them, and starts glowing. So it's like the repair process or something that could maybe lead to a repair process is starting. Yeah, there isn't a lot as far as Belle is concerned in this episode. Then, Sherry, she's pissed off, and basically she doubts that the god of the kingdom actually cares about the people. Which, if we've seen this show, it's safe to say, if it can be called a god, um, it probably does not. And so Gaff becomes king, basically replacing the dead one. And then Guinness is sent basically the dead king sends Guinness some message or something. Basically Guinness achieves this magical power that possibly similar to, I guess, what the characters would call God. So and Guinness in the prison, so basically Guinness and Bennett are in prison along with Belle, all in different yeah, cells. And so, basically a lot of setups happening. Donis wants to fight Belle again, which is why he gives her the ashes. And Cyan fights like he fights the rabbit, you know, so they're so Kitty the rabbit like it's like he has some weird personality thing. Seems to cause him to go crazy. Something. It's almost like it's implied that he had his personality split or something. So he fights Cyan, and this is after Cyan briefly meets with Gaff. Like it's very confusing. This episode it's a little confusing. But then Adonis and some priests go inside the giant tree, and I think they're carrying the dead king's dead body in there. There's a lot of stuff regarding that tree, how the world works is about to be revealed soon. And so basically we're probably close to the next confrontation between Belle and Adonis, and maybe one between Belle and Gaff, like whatever the heck's going on with the world. So I mean there's some setup. I mean as far as quality, I mean it's okay. It's not worth writing home about. It's not really terrible or anything. It's just okay. It's just a bunch of setup and I hope it leads to something. Because literally, but basically the entire show has been set up. Like, and I don't know, and it's hard to say whether or not what it's leading to is something I care about. But I'll stick through it, see if this show sticks to landing, and I hope it does. Fire Force Season 3, Episode 4. So in this one, the group of Company 8 members, led by Hinawa, Like they fight Gold, who's this white clan member who can't well has this gold gauntlet where basically she like emits this heat that allows her to like use like heat up gold enough to where it turns magnetic, allowing her to manipulate like metal objects, which includes like any metal weaponry that Company 8 has, or the metal on their belts, which causes everyone's pants to fall down. And that's pretty funny. And then basically how they counteract it is for the basically they try they to basically get rid of her magnetism. And so how they do it is Lit comes up with a plan to have like to basically so Lisa Isaribi, she like uses her powers to help counteract it while everyone else like pours like like they basically throw the metal into like the fire of like Tamaki's fire tail to like melt it. Now, by itself, her tail's not powerful, not hot enough to do that. So you have to use like basically a bomb, and then use this breathing oxygen to basically increase the power of the flame, making it hotter and melting the metal. And basically it allows Tamaki to throw this giant fireball onto the golden gauntlet, basically melting it and ending like the magnetism. And so um that allows a lieutenant Hinawa to shoot Gold in the head and kill her. And then this other white clad member, because there's two that are watching because they don't want to work together against Company A. They just all want to fight by themselves. Yeah, obviously it backfired. So another one decides to fight by himself, and they're basically talking like, "Wait, why aren't y'all not fighting together? Y'all could maybe stand a chance." And the guy's like, "We don't care. We just can't fight together. We prefer to fight alone." And then Arthur appears. Since he had fallen off, and then everyone asked him where he was. He's like, "I fell from my horse," because of his like how his mind works. And there's actually a reasoning behind how his mind works. I'm not gonna get into it. Like, but basically, he like just does one slash with his like basically with his laser sword, and he kills that white clad member like pretty quick. Like it's not much. He just kills that guy. He just defeats that guy quickly. So then probably then near the end we see Shinra talk with Captain with Captain Burns. Basically like, what the heck are you doing? Like, why are you helping the white guy? Burns is like, I serve God. And this is what basically he's like he's doing what he believes is what God's commands. Yeah. And then like they're still like talking like their fights about basically start like it's picking up, and then a bug is put inside of Obi. So he starts being going through the infernal process, and that's how the episode ends. So I'm not going to get into what all happens next because it is pretty interesting what happens with Obi after that. Well, as far as the episode goes, I thought this was pretty good. I mean, obviously with the Shinra stuff, it's still set up. With Arthur, it's still set up because there's big things happening with those two characters, like with big fights coming up. So yeah, yeah, I'm looking for. I think it was a very good episode. I'm looking forward to next week's Teogonia episode 3. So in this one, deals with the aftermath of the last episode. Kai, is seen as like somewhat of a hero by the village. Then Lady Jose wants to continue training. Like basically everyone's kind of suspicious of like her and Kai, and like some of the other men are asking Kai like, "What the heck?" Like basically, like, dude, how? And then Kai, like, he hears like this crying bird, so he's drawn to this like valley where he sees these people who worship this god, and various events happen where Kai has to fight these enemies, and it's implied that he's like he's like a vessel for the god of the valley. So like this girl who was meant to be a sacrifice for the god, he basically saves, and then like, cause he doesn't want people to be killed, sacrificed to like him or anything like that. He doesn't want that. And so basically, like he has like similar powers, or the same, at least similar, if not the exact same powers as this valley god. And so, which could looks like a lot of stuff regarding the divine crest he has on his face. Which, he's still hiding from the village. Like Lady Joe saw it last week, but she kind of seemingly dismissed it as like, where as like maybe her eyes were playing tricks on her. So like a lot of stuff is being set up. Like looks like more about Kai's powers are about to be introduced, and what exactly like he does, like because he's fighting orcs. He's fighting an orc. Like so we'll see him actually defeat an orc, and which should be interesting. We should see like how he develops as a fighter, because he's kind of like he's basically kind of like blundering his way through a lot of stuff. But now next week we should see him like actually fight like very well, and growing some confidence in his own new abilities. Should be interesting to see. And yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I think there's a lot of stuff set up with him, Lady Jost, the purple haired girl whose name I can't remember, and a lot of stuff with the valley. What kind of deity powers does he have? Is it connected to like his like reincarnation? You know, this could all be pretty interesting. And I'm looking forward to next week's Havoc. So this is a new film that released today on Netflix. I think it probably should release in theaters. Probably would have made a decent amount of money anyway. But as far as the story goes, so there's these thieves named Charlie, Mia, Johnny, and Wes. They steal these washing machines that have cocaine in them. They're pursued by these guys named Vincent, Hayes, Jake, and Cortez, who are like they're detectives in our narcotics squad. Cortez is wounded and is put in the hospital. Later, Charlie, Mia, they take the cocaine to Sui, who's this like local triad leader, because like Mia had stolen Sui's car and basically needed money to pay off the debt. Then these, you know, guys in masks appear and, kill Sui and a lot of his people, and Charlie Mia escaped. And it's revealed that the masked guys are in league with Chin, who's a lieutenant that works for Sui. And so then we go to Patrick Walker. He's like a corrupt homicide detective who like he's on the payroll of this real estate tycoon and mayoral candidate named Lawrence Beaumont. And Beaumont is Charlie's father. Walker is estranged from his family. And Walker learns that his son's accused of killing Sui, so he tells Walker to like find Charlie and keep him safe. Then Walker works with, Ellie, who's his like this rookie that's partner with him. And then they start searching for leads to find Charlie and Mia. He talks to Cortez since he knew Cortez from his time at the since Cortez was part of the narcotic squad, which Walker was once a part of, and basically like they were all on Lawrence's payroll because Vincent had killed an undercover cop when basically there was like a drug theft that had gone wrong. Yeah, like an undercover cop was killed by a corrupt cop, and so Sui's mother, who's another leader within the triad, she arrives you know in the city, and she's not happy about like Sui's death. She asks Ching what happened. Ching says that Charlie did it. So like Sui's mother, who in this movie is just called Mother, has Lawrence kidnapped, and then Walker finds Raul, who's Mia's uncle, who he's like forging passports so Charlie and Mia can get out of the U.S. Raul Walker has Raul set up a meeting, to where everyone can get the passports, and Walker's trying to get Charlie and Mia out safely, but with Vincent, Hayes and Jake arrived, and Mia says that Vincent is Sui's killer, and so Raul, Johnny, Wes, and bunch of triad people arrive, and there's like this big fight that happens. So Hayes, Raul, Johnny, Wes, and a bunch of triad people are killed, and Walker escapes with Mia and Charlie, who is wounded. And Walker learns that Vincent and his guys were trying to steal the cocaine for themselves rather than go after Charlie and his friends, and shown that Vincent is working with Ching, who has a buyer that the cocaine can be sold to, and Ching wanted to basically he wanted Sui dead. Ching wanted Sui dead because he was pissed that Sui was promoted to head over the triad, instead of him. And Ching kills Cortez and and his wife. Then Ellie captures Ching. Then there, while this is going on, Walker takes Charlie and Mia to this cabin, and triads find them, and then basically the three of them have to fight off the triads. And basically Walker kills this assassin who's like a lead enforcer for Mother. Then he's wounded. Mother arrives with some of her people, more of her people, and Lawrence. And basically, Mother forces Lawrence to play a game of Russian roulette with Mia. Ellie Ellie arrives with Vincent, Jake, and Sheen, who she had captured, and she basically reveals that they're ones responsible. Jake breaks free and tries to kill Charlie, but Lawrence gets in the way and he dies. Sheen and some or some triads who were loyal to him, they kill Mother and her loyalists, and Sheen injures Vincent, who then kills Sheen, runs with the cocaine. Walker chases Vincent. Let's see, like Ellie fights Jake, and then Charlie kills Jake to take revenge for Lawrence's death. And then basically, like Vincent, and Walker injure each other, and Walker is able to kill Vincent. And police are arriving. Lots of like Ellie decides to let Charlie and Mia go, and Walker wants Ellie to arrest him. Ellie says no, and then basically it's kind of like things are left uncertain. It's like what happens to Walker? Does he go to prison? Does he go free? Like, well, what all happens? That's not shown. So yeah, as far as this movie goes, like I thought it was fine for the most part. Like it's a pretty like simple story. Like like obviously Tom Hardy, he did pretty well as Walker, and I mean, basically it's just nonstop action. Like it's just bang bang bang. Like they're like it's not like a like people staying around talking about random crap. This is like action, which is nice. It's nice to have like just like a mindless action movie. So I mean, there's not a lot with this. I mean, it takes place around Christmas for whatever reason. Kind of like with Novocaine, if it's one of those things, okay, they set on Christmas with, basically Christmas being like meant to be the emotional part of it with in this movie, Walker trying to bond with his daughter. Which that's kind of so secondary. It's doesn't really that part doesn't really matter much. But and then with Novocaine, you had like the Santa burglars, and then like basically how a lot of stuff with Novocaine was that like it was the holidays, so it's like they set it on Christmas, but then they don't release it on either one on Christmas, and it kind of the Christmas stuff doesn't work. It's kind of stupid. So I mean, and if we're gonna sell on Christmas, to have that be, they should have just released it in December. I mean, just release it in December if it's a Christmas type setting story. Should be released in December because that's the only time Christmas movies should be on TV or in theaters. So yeah, I mean, this ain't gonna generate as much debate as far as that goes compared to like let's say like Novocaine or like Novocaine, Batman Begins, Iron Man 3, Die Hard, or Harry Potter movies. Not gonna have that kind of debate, at least not as much. But I'm like, eh, I think this was a decent movie. Like it's just mindless action. Like just I thought it was decent, and you know, I don't see any need for a sequel. It's just bunch of people, everyone's a prick, and they're all trying to kill each other or capture each other. And it's nice to have simple, mindless stuff like that. It's nice to see a movie where everyone's a prick, and like we don't need everyone to be all happy, happy, joy, joy, or touchy feely. It's nice to see, yeah, screw you, no, screw you. Yeah, it's nice. So I thought it was a decent movie. The Accountant too. So in this one, um, Raymond King, the director of the Vincent Department of the Treasury Department, um, he's killed while meeting with this assassin. Basically he was trying to find this like human trafficking victim. Then he has a message for Mary Beth Medina, his successor, that to find the accountant. You know, or Christian Wolf, as he's mostly known as. I don't know if that's his real name. Like they keep calling him that, that was an alias or something, but so I don't know if that's like his actual real name or something. Anyway, I'll just call him the accountant. So the accountant recruits his brother Braxton to help them out. Then they basically try to find, there's this mother and son who are missing, who Gene was looking for. Like the father was already killed by these traffickers, and so the female assassin who Gene met seems to have a connection to them, and basically after finding all these basically these cartel people, all these like traffickers, it's revealed that the female assassin is the mother, but but like she lost her memory and basically had some brain damage that activated portions of like her mind that caused her to like become a really good assassin. So the accountant and Braxton, they kill all the traffickers, save the son and a bunch of other kids, and then the mother kills like the head trafficker, and like that's really it. Pretty simple story. This gets into more of like the relationship between the brothers. This isn't as serious as the first one. Like, John Berthal is given a larger role. He does very well. Yeah. He's actually given something to work with, unlike in The Punisher. Yeah. We have a guy in a bad Daredevil movie and a guy in a bad Punisher show. Team up to make a good movie. And I think this was better than the first one. Now, some of it could have been left out. I think I think the dancing scene could have been like shortened or left out. I think the speed dating thing could have been taken out or shortened. Just cut down the runtime a little bit. And yeah, I thought this was pretty good. I think this could be I don't think it will be like blockbuster hit, but I think it could make some decent money. I think it could make profit. I mean, with the way theaters are, there's a chance it could lose money, but that's Hollywood's fault. But I think with good enough word of mouth, I think this could do pretty well. And should, because it's a good movie. So yeah, I do recommend this. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.